we stop communication issues from derailing during a divorce property sale? It really starts with the proper court orders. I've done too many cases where the court order just comes down that says that Michael Klein should sell the property. Michael Klein should sell the marital home. Michael Klein should sell the marital home as is. But based on that, you leave too much open. Is one party living in the house going to permit showings? Are they going to give you a decent schedule? Are they going to be home during the showings? The way to prevent things is the proper court orders, and here's some examples of orders that I typically put in place. I like to have orders such as in-spouse will not be present during any showings. The party will also permit showings a minimum of 3 times a week between the hours of 9 and 5, one day on the weekend between the hours of 11 and 6. If one of the parties happens to run into the realtor or the buyer and are asked any questions, their sole response should be, "Please direct all questions through my realtor." Again, we need to control the communication, and by controlling the communication, the only way to do it is to do it through the proper orders. How do court orders prevent direct communication between the sellers and the buyers? Again, it goes back to the same thing. I mean, even in a regular sale, sellers and buyers should not be communicating with each other. However, sometimes the tension that builds up in a litigation case, like a divorce, can cause somebody to ask questions. Maybe they happen to know who the buyer is. They lived local, they lived across the street or down the street. There needs to be direct orders about the communication that can go on and cannot go on. As a neutral, my job is to help all parties involved get the best value for the home. With all due respect, I'm not an advocate for the plaintiff or the defendant. I'm an advocate for the value of the property. My goal is to get the best value, but guess what? That's not always the goal of both parties, because if one party is trying to buy the other one out, they don't want the best value. Or shall I say, they don't want the highest value, because the best value to them is a lower one. But how can realtors really act as a neutral intermediary to avoid conflict? As a certified divorce real estate expert, it starts with us, with my code of ethics, which is a lot stronger than the code of ethics that occurs with a normal realtor. So what is that? Well, as a certified divorce real estate expert, I will not work with either party during a divorce to buy a home until their home is sold. At the same time, if I get an incoming call of somebody that wants to see their property that's for sale, I will not show it to them. I will refer it out to another realtor. It's very difficult, even though I could probably do it, to show neutrality to both sides. When one party says the only reason you want Mary to buy the home is because at the end of the day, if they buy that home, they're also going to be buying another home from me. So again, by not being allowed to show them your property, you could be assured that I'm not trying to force a low value on the sale of your home, because I'm going to get paid again by selling them another home. Those are the important features. Again, derailing a transaction is very, very, very easy. It happens many a times, I hate to say, but it always relates back to the orders. And I encourage counsel to consult with me and say, what orders would you need to prevent some of this derailing? I recently had a case that closed. The wife was the defendant and was the in-spouse. The husband, of course, was the outspouse. We got down to, in contract, negotiations on the inspections. We're talking about a home that was in the high 600,000 range, and she refused to settle on the inspection over $2,000. She kept saying that her home was worth more. We were giving it away for free. Meanwhile, it took 60 days to get an offer. 30-something people went through the home and said it was just priced too high, it needed too much work, and she let the deal die over $2,000. Had we had proper orders in place from the beginning, we could have prevented that.